It's all covered in today's China Truths.
There are increasing reports of sudden and unexpected passings among young people in mainland China. On April 6th, a 35-year-old doctor from the Second People's Hospital of Yuhuan City, Zhejiang Province, unexpectedly passed away while resting between two surgeries. Many doctors on the mainland have noted on social media that cardiovascular and cerebrovascular diseases are affecting younger age groups, and sudden medical emergencies among the youth are becoming more frequent. A 35-year-old doctor in Zhejiang passed away while resting between operations. Jimu News reported that on April 7th, the Second People's Hospital of Yuhuan City issued an obituary. Chen Jie, the chief physician of the hospital's orthopedics department, passed away at 2:30 a.m. on April 6th at the age of 35, due to sudden respiratory and cardiac failure during work. Despite the hospital's full rescue efforts, he unfortunately could not be revived. A staff member at the hospital revealed that on the day of the incident, Chen Jie had just completed a surgery and was taking a break. As he was preparing for the next operation, he suddenly suffered respiratory and cardiac arrest and sadly could not be saved. The 33-year-old daughter of former Hong Kong chief executive Leung passed away suddenly. On the evening of March 8th, Leung, the 33-year-old daughter of former Hong Kong chief executive Leung Chun-ying, passed away unexpectedly. Leung Chun-ying later confirmed the incident, stating that his daughter passed away very suddenly. According to Hong Kong 01, at 10:40 p.m. on March 8th, police received a report from an employee at a service department on number 1 Aid Street, Shao Kei Wan, saying that a female resident had been found unconscious on the floor. When paramedics arrived, they found the woman lying on the bed and pronounced her dead at the scene. The exact cause of death will be determined following an autopsy. The deceased was identified as Leung Tzian, the second daughter of Leung Chun-ying, who currently serves as vice chairman of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. At around 1 a.m. on March 9th, Leung Chun-ying, accompanied by plainclothes police officers, arrived at the apartment. Her sister, Leung Chengyan, also arrived in the early hours and left shortly afterward. At around 5 a.m., the body was transferred to the mortuary. At around the same time, Leung Chun-ying confirmed the passing of his daughter in a post. Previously, on October 1, 2014, Leung Tzian posted a photo of a thick necklace on Facebook, remarking that her beautiful clothes, shoes, and jewelry were all purchased with the money of Hong Kong taxpayers. Leung Chun-ying, who was backed by Zheng Qinghong, the second-in-command of the Jiang Zemin faction of the Chinese Communist Party, was accused of using gangs to destabilize Hong Kong during his tenure as chief executive. He was said to have intensified social tensions, including collaborating with Zhang Dejiang, chairman of the National People's Congress and a key Zhang faction figure, to exploit political reform issues in 2014 to stir unrest. He was also accused of attempting to create a violent crackdown, fueling the Hong Kong independence narrative, and condoning the Hong Kong Youth Care Association's harassment of Falun Gong practitioners. Doctors in Jiangsu, cardiovascular and cerebrovascular diseases are affecting younger people. Zhang Yaojun, chief physician at the Department of Cardiology at Suzhou Tumor Hospital, Suzhou Third Hospital, said in his Douyin video on March 24th, "I didn't expect cardiovascular disease to be affecting people in their 20s. He mentioned treating a 26-year-old unmarried patient the previous week. Although the patient survived, a stent had to be inserted. His elderly mother tearfully begged the doctors to save her son, which was heartbreaking." In the comments under the video, many netizens shared their own experiences. "I was 29 and had a stent placed. I nearly didn't make it. I was 27, and a myocardial bridge caused ischemia, which led to palpitations and chest tightness. Last year at 26, I had a myocardial infarction. During a checkup this year, a 75% narrowing was found in my anterior descending artery. I was born in 1994, had myocarditis at 21, and a subarachnoid hemorrhage at 24. Increasing reports of unexpected losses among those born in the 1980s and 1990s in Changsha, Hunan. On March 21st, a Douyin blogger named Changsha's son-in-law picks up a good house said in a video that a friend working in the funeral industry shared a worrying trend. In 2024, farewell ceremonies for people born in the 1980s and 1990s handled by his friend had doubled compared to the previous 3 years. The youngest case was just 28 years old, and most were between 35 and 40. Sudden cardiac-related incidents accounted for 67%, and late-stage cancer made up 21%. A doctor blogger known as Zhang On the Walker captioned one of his videos, "There are now more and more sudden losses, and the victims are getting younger. In most cases, efforts to save them are unsuccessful." Since March, sudden deaths among police officers, professionals, and internet influencers in mainland China have drawn public attention. On April 6th, the husband of Yang Qina, a 38-year-old internet personality in Fujian, announced she had passed away from sudden hypoglycemia. Yang was featured by CCTV and Xinhua and appeared on shows like Chinese Love. Ding Rui, 41, director of Harbin's Justice Bureau, died of a sudden heart attack on April 1st. Liu Zhiwan, 32, an e-commerce researcher, passed away from cardiac arrest on a bus in Shenzhen. Li Jinyong, 51, a Zhengzhou party official, and Qiwen Liang, a Xinjiang police director, also died suddenly. Other cases include journalist Li Hui, 56, influencer Jie Weqian, 25, scientist Liu Yongfeng, 48, lawyer Xu Songxian, 46, and project manager Chen Ruikui, 45, etc. Netizens are sharing similar stories: sudden collapses, young people dying after minor symptoms, and questions about rising heart attacks and strokes in the young. Some blame COVID, citing widespread infections and long lines at crematoriums. Authorities insist 99% of recent cases are flu-related, but public skepticism is growing. Offshore RMB falls to historic low. The offshore RMB fell to its lowest level ever after the People's Bank of China relaxed its tight control over the RMB and the United States imposed a 104% tariff on a variety of Chinese goods. The offshore RMB fell as much as 1.1% to 7.429 RMB per dollar in late New York trading on Tuesday, April 8th, a record low. Earlier in the day, the People's Bank of China set the RMB central parity rate at 7.2038 RMB per dollar, the lowest since September 2023. This is the first time since U.S. President Donald Trump was elected in November that the RMB central parity rate has fallen below the 7.20 mark, which investors see as a soft red line for official willingness to move the RMB. The onshore RMB fell to its lowest level since September 2023. We think the pace of devaluation will accelerate, and China has also signaled more flexibility in the so-called central parity rate, said Arup Chatterjee, managing director of macro strategy and emerging markets at Wells Fargo in New York. It will be a controlled, sustained devaluation, which could send the offshore RMB to 7.50 per dollar or even higher, Chatterjee said. Devaluing the RMB is seen as an option for Beijing to make exports more attractive, a key driver of economic growth that is now under more pressure due to trade tensions. But letting the RMB depreciate sharply is a difficult decision because it could increase bearish bets on the economy, exacerbate capital outflows, anger the United States, and dim the prospects of any trade talks. For China, on the other hand, keeping the RMB artificially strong could curb exports, further hitting an already struggling economy. In addition, the subsequent release of pressure to devalue the RMB could also lead to increased volatility in financial markets. Where the People's Bank of China will draw the next line of defense remains an open question, but we at least know that the bar has now been raised, said Tiffany Wang, a foreign exchange analyst at J.P. Morgan. China's Ministry of Commerce said on Tuesday that if the United States insists on imposing new tariffs, China will fight to the end. According to the official record of the call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, Chinese Premier Li Qiang said that China has sufficient policy tools to fully offset any negative external shocks. Li Chang criticized the United States' punitive actions as unilateralism, protectionism, and economic coercion. With tit-for-tat tensions with China only set to intensify, it makes sense that the yuan would take a hit, said Helen Given, a foreign exchange trader at Monex. We are watching for any signs of deliberate devaluation, but that doesn't appear to be happening yet. Banks are supposed to be trusted places for people to safeguard their savings, but in China, going to a bank for a simple deposit has become an experience of being defrauded. Some would even say, robbed. Let's watch a few videos together. Woman: Hey, please pay attention. I was persuaded to deposit over 1 million yuan here, but in fact, the bank secretly transferred my money into a high-risk financial investment product without informing me. Now I have lost all my principal. Man:
Why are you filming around here?
Because I lost all my savings. The product they put my money into has defaulted.
You can't take pictures here.
Why not? I trusted this bank and followed their instructions, but now I've lost everything. What's wrong with asking for justice?
Can I tell you something?
She told me it was a deposit with guaranteed principal and interest, so I put in over 1 million yuan. But she secretly enrolled me in a risky investment product. They even asked for my official seal. Everything was orchestrated by them. And now all my money is gone.
What exactly did you buy?
They claimed it was internal financial management. I had no idea it was an unguaranteed investment product. I bought it last year on August 3rd. Now, more than 10 months later, when I checked, I saw that over 900,000 yuan was gone. They told me it would yield at least 6%, but I lost all my principal. An 80-year-old man entrusted the bank with over 110,000 yuan, his life savings. He thought he was doing a time deposit to earn some modest interest, but when the term ended, he found out the bank had quietly converted his deposit into a financial insurance product. Now, only 40,000 yuan remains.
I trusted you. You told me this deposit was guaranteed, principal and interest. Now look, my 110,000 yuan has turned into just 40,000. You say I should accept a 70,000 yuan loss? And if I don't accept it, I can't do anything?
A female blogger shared how a reporter from Beijing News went undercover and exposed how banks deceive elderly depositors. The first trick is to switch the civet cat for the crown prince, a bait-and-switch scam. The financial managers in suits at the bank lobby act like legitimate bankers, but behind the scenes, the bank sells your ID and deposit details to their investment partners. The second trick involves contract manipulation. They talk about principal-guaranteed high-interest returns, but the contract hides clauses like early withdrawal penalties where 50% of your principal is lost. In Henan, Uncle Wang's 50,000 yuan deposit was secretly changed into an insurance policy. Now he has to pay 20,000 yuan in penalties. How is this financial management? It's daylight robbery. And the third trick is even worse. Banks collect and package customer data, especially VIP accounts, and sell them to insurance companies. What was promised to be a safe deposit ends up being a tool for insurance sales. These banks not only trick people into converting deposits into high-risk investments, but they also work hand-in-hand with authorities to restrict withdrawals and transfers. They use excuses like fraud prevention or anti-money laundering to justify freezing people's money. Many now suspect it's not just fraud prevention, it's likely that banks are running short of money. In mainland China, many depositors have already experienced sudden limitations on their bank cards. In November 2024, a female netizen revealed that her bank card suddenly stopped working. Upon inquiry, she found out her spending was capped at 2,000 yuan per month. She asked, "How can anyone live on that?" Even more shocking, Jilin Bank reportedly told depositors they must register and be reviewed by the local police before withdrawing 20,000 yuan. Bank staff claimed this wasn't their decision. It was based on instructions from the local police station. A woman went to a bank in Longhua District, Shenzhen, to transfer 200,000 yuan and was unexpectedly arrested. The bank called the police and took her to the station for questioning. Later, she stood angrily in front of the branch and told passers-by what had happened. "Everyone, come and see. I'm posting this on Douyin." Tell me, how can something like this happen? I tried to transfer 200,000 CNY, about 28,000 USD, and they dragged me to the police station, asking why I needed to transfer such a large amount. Is this normal? Another man shared his experience.
Just yesterday, I found that my transfer limit was suddenly reduced from 5 million to just 10,000 yuan a day, and I wasn't even notified. I know many people have encountered this. I rushed to the ATM after the counter closed, trying to deposit 150,000 yuan in cash. It took me nearly 20 minutes, and I needed to transfer it urgently to a friend for a life-saving surgery. But then I realized the transfer limit had already been restricted to 10,000 yuan. The bank's restrictions made it impossible to save a life. Who takes responsibility for that?
In June 2024, Chinese media reported that several banks in Shenzhen began requiring appointments for large cash withdrawals. For example, China Everbright Bank required appointments for any withdrawal above 20,000 yuan. Withdrawals over 200,000 yuan needed to be reviewed through a mobile app. These policies are not rumors. They reflect what actually happens at banks. In Xingtai, Hebei Province, a woman went to the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China to withdraw a small amount, but was interrogated like a suspect. I only wanted to withdraw 2,500 yuan, but I spent 20 minutes here and made countless calls just to verify the withdrawal. I said my husband is going to be hospitalized. They asked me which department he would be admitted to. If he's not hospitalized, can't I still use my money? Why can't I withdraw my own money? Another customer tried to withdraw 200,000 yuan in cash.
Hello, I'd like to withdraw 200,000 yuan.
Sir, may I ask what the cash is for?
I want to buy a safe.
Buying a safe doesn't cost that much, right?
I'll keep the rest in the safe. It's more convenient than your bank. Every time I want to take out money, you ask me what I'm using it for.
Sir, you must be joking. Depositing your money in a bank is very safe.
Don't make me laugh. Your efficiency is so bad, people with short lives shouldn't come here. I got my queue number at 9 a.m., but you didn't serve me until 11:30. There are 4 counters, but only one is open. What are the rest doing? Playing cards? Is the feng shui bad at those windows? Every time I come, it's like I'm a prisoner. When I deposit, you interrogate me about the source of the money. When I withdraw, you demand to know how I'll use it. Now you lower my transfer limit without notice. You say there are frequent transactions and force me to come in person.
Sir, with online fraud increasing, we're strengthening financial security.
And who exactly are you controlling? You can't stop fraudsters from draining accounts in minutes, but you can lock my card and stop me from using my own money. Your system punishes honest people while leaving criminals untouched. You focus on what doesn't matter and ignore what truly does. I've had enough. Money is safest in my own hands. Once it's in your bank, I don't even know if it's still mine.
Finally, the man added, I just can't understand. This is obviously my money, but it feels like it was stolen from me. This reflects the frustration of many people. Even when handling the simplest withdrawals or transfers at the bank, they are often treated like prisoners. Some banks have even transferred customers' deposits into mortgages or other products without their consent. Yet when elderly customers want to withdraw money or reset a password, they must appear in person, even if it's physically difficult. Why is it so easy for third parties to debit funds, but so hard for the account owner to access their own money? On March 2, 2025, Chinese media outlet Lichi News reported that some netizens complained they couldn't withdraw money for their bedridden father, despite knowing the password. One family had to push the father, still on his hospital bed, to the bank just to complete the withdrawal. A netizen shared, Postal Savings Bank of China is the same. After my 93-year-old father fell, I tried to help him withdraw 800 yuan using his bank book. They insisted he come in person. In the end, I pushed him 5 kilometers in a wheelchair just to get the money. It felt like extortion. Banks are supposed to be convenient service providers, places for deposits and withdrawals. But under the CCP's rule, more and more banks are acting outrageously. It seems China's banking system is facing a liquidity crisis, leading them to secretly convert savings into wealth management or insurance products, or restrict access to people's own funds. When someone urgently needs money for medical treatment but is blocked by the bank, who bears the consequences? Especially when the delay costs someone's life, how can those losses ever be measured?
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.